All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Deltagreen tonight. We're playing, what episode is this? Episode 7, What Lies We Tell, our second go-around with Deltagreen, our second campaign, one where we're stitching together a couple different scenarios here and there. I don't know if we're nearing the end of this scenario or not. Maybe they were trying to figure out how to destroy a building again, because that's what it comes down to. Apparently, Steven wants to just blow up a building. And then we were also trying.
Even though he wasn't even here for the last blowing up of the building.
Well, he was channeling.
He's filling in for Derek. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what else? Oh, we were trying to figure out what letter cell they're going to be. Last time around during Impossible Landscapes, we did D cell. I don't remember why we did that, but I remember there was a joke associated with it. I don't remember what that
Probably
joke was.
Something about get this D.
It could have been. I thought it was like,
or just like
dumbass cell or something, dummies or something. Yeah. I can't remember. So we need a letter. Let's
make a poll.
What are the candidates? What's the candidates? What are we doing?
Z.
Okay, so Z
Q
cell
was mentioned somewhere.
Q cell.
I mentioned Q just for the Q continuum.
Okay. Fair enough. He is not going to help you.
Vote Foxtrot.
Wait. So, by the way, does anybody other than Steven and I understand what the Q continuum is a reference to?
That absolutely
Probably. I have no idea
over
what
my
it is.
head.
No, Melissa. Maybe Melissa. I don't know.
Jeff, I would have preferred
You
not asking the question so I didn't know the answer. Like, that's one of the things. Like, it just broke my
this
heart.
is a Star Trek thing?
It's a Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
I was happy to live in ignorance.
I wasn't really in ignorance. I knew the answer. I knew the answer to my own question, so I just wanted to verify it. Okay. So we need to figure out a letter. Q cell, Z cell, L cell. L cell sounds, I mean, I like L because it's lolly, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to say. L cell. I don't know. Anyhow, okay. So we've got some stuff to get to tonight. We'll see where it goes. I'm honestly very curious where the hell you guys are going to go. I don't really know what you guys are going to do. So we'll figure it out. All right, why don't we do some intros? Tell us who you're playing and tell us what letter you would like the cell to be hereafter formally called. So, Long, tell us about Luca / Agent Inferno.
Yes, Luca, Italian American. I'm living in Jersey, New York area, investigating that for DEA agency. And he's below willpower right now. I'm at 3. No sleep. No real... A lot of choices to be made here. I've gotten voices in my head. My director's calling me. Just see where it goes.
Yeah, you've been having a rough go. You C cell?
Z.
You want C? Z? Okay, so Z is 1. Z is an option. Okay.
Z cell.
You're zombies. Like, you're just a bunch of zombies. Okay. All right. You have been having a rough go of it. That is for sure. I think Luca, of all people, has probably suffered the most so far in the early stages of this campaign. And who knows if he'll make it to the middle stages of this campaign. We'll find out. Next up, we have Maggie / Aggie. Go ahead, Maggie, Aggie.
Yes. So I feel like either A cell or G cell would seem to make sense because, Maggie, Aggie, just sort of go with what's...
So I think A cell, remember what I was saying before, I think A cell is a reference to like the official, like I think in the Deltagreen lore. Right. Yeah. So I think A cell's out.
So I'll go G because I've got 4 of them between Maggie and Aggie. So that's my vote for no particularly good reason. She is generally doing not too bad with things, but yeah, we will down a little bit on some willpower.
All right, fair enough. I think you actually had, according to my listen, a fairly modest end to last session, as you just had plans with your friend Chelsea, and you ditched Luca and Declan, who were going to stake out to go hang out with her. We don't know if to play it out, but I think that's how it ended for Maggie, if I recall correctly.
Yes, and probably still wearing the wig that Lisa got me. So that will be like, I'm sure Chelsea's going to be like, well, that's new.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Maggie has popped up on some local Brooklyn news feeds, not in great, the kind of grainy footage basically, but popped up. It was a fun scene. I got to listen back to the dock worker scene where he's like, "Hey, you look really familiar," and like Steven starts to talk as Declan and is like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "No, not you, her."
I was so
Declan
disappointed.
and Steven were crestfallen. It was awesome. It was so great.
But as soon as he said her, I'm like, "Oh shit, she's wanted."
Sort of. It ain't that clear.
I wonder who's
It's just one of those things where it's like local
for
news.
questioning.
Local news, crazy woman does, something in a something, and then nothing really comes of it sometimes. Well, maybe it will. We'll see. Declan, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hey, I am an author. I'm definitely the best liar in the group. And I'll also say that I'm the smartest one of the group. Those two coincide. It's a joke, guys. Okay, everyone's too busy offended. I'm saying I'm lying about it.
What is your int?
Good question. It's
You are
up
not
there.
the most intelligent
16.
person of the party.
Oh,
But I am the best
17.
liar, so I am the most
Yeah.
intelligent.
You do have an 18 charisma.
Useful lies, though. Your lies should be useful to the
Okay, I've had a
members
lot of
yourself.
fun with these lies, and I'm going to get Maggie arrested at some point before we wrap up Delta Green.
Sure. That's definitely gonna
As
happen.
for cell names, I'm conflicted now. I don't want Q Continuum because no one knows what it is, and that would just break my heart. I was going to say G for my initials, Gordon Wood, but Maggie said G, so now I don't want it to be named after her. So I'm going to go with E for Ellis.
Okay. All right. E for Ellis. I think G is the second most common letter in Lollygagger, though. There's L and then G, right?
Lollygagging has 3.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Finally, we got Lisa Young. Ashley, tell us about old Lisa.
I am playing Lisa. She's a program manager for FEMA, and she's got herself in a bit of a pickle. She's out here with her family, celebrating her mom's birthday after she has passed, and her boyfriend came out, and it was real awkward. He's very sweet about it, but that's a whole can of worms she's gonna have to deal with when she gets home. And yeah, she's had a lot of family drama while trying to run this case and having a young daughter with her, and it's been rough. And I would say we should be the B cell because we're here because of Operation Blister, and we're currently on Operation Blister 2.
Okay.
Double boogaloo.
All right. I just started a poll. Audience, you're going to make the decision. Those are the 4 options. Go ahead, vote away. And that's what it's going to be.
How many times can I vote?
I mean, I said audience. You're not an audience, dude. You're cast. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, man. Okay.
I don't know. I'm out of it tonight.
Are you? Okay.
No.
You do seem a little
that good of a liar, though.
You do seem a little out of it. All right. Why don't we start? I think we're all a little like nervous because tomorrow is our One Ring finale. So I feel like I know that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling very anxious about tomorrow. Like I worked on Delta Green all afternoon, but the whole time I was like really nervous because it's like, big day tomorrow. So we'll see. What the other poll I was thinking of doing? Who's going to die? Which campaign is going to have more casualties by the end of it? Delta Green, Will Lies We Tell, or One Ring, Waking of Angmar? Because we've already got one big casualty. Spoiler alert. And now we have others that are probably going to be some casualties. But anyhow, let's
who's
not
our
talk
casualty
about
in One Ring?
I can't remember his name.
I forgot already.
Yeah.
Sornadir?
He had a couple of names, but no one really remembered any of them. So who really cares? So let's go ahead and let's start it up. So we've got, let me do a little summary. Last time around, we started with Maggie chasing after a rodent-like creature that had hissed at her at the Garretson mansion. And somehow it managed to outpace and or outsmart her despite the fact that she has a 17 intelligence and she was trying to escape. Gene Wallow is one of the workers at the construction site with Bloomfield Construction. He was there, and discovered Maggie as he was opening up the door to show Declan and Luca the building. And rather than provide Maggie cover, Declan pretended not to know her and chased after his cat, which was a black and white cat that ran out of the building. Maggie assaulted Gene, actually tried to swipe his phone away after he called her a tweaker. And he was trying to notify the police again. And then he started backing away, realizing that both Maggie and Luca might be a bit of a threat and might be involved in all this kind of stuff. Later, much later, Declan was going to try to smooth that over by having Tabitha, his agent, send Gene a full collection of his books as an apology. I don't know if that really makes sense, but he did it after Gene left the building. Maggie and Declan and Luca, you all went inside. And Declan, you started feeling the same kind of anxious sensation that we just into like that kind of dimensional size space inconsistency in Unit 35 that Luca was feeling. And then at a certain point, you actually began hacking into the drywall with hand tools. And later, you even tried to stage a break-in by bashing the front door into the building, despite the fact that there is a very clear eyewitness to that not having taken place. Not only that, but the group, you discovered some kind of strange wooden plate inside the room with these geometric engravings at various depths. Luca, you received an awkward phone call from your supervisor because you had forgotten you were supposed to take a shift at a stakeout for the DEA on an investigation into a local crime syndicate. And on leaving the construction site, you were contacted by a voice telling you to return when you were ready for answers and enlightenment, even though you're no maid. And a she will provide that enlightenment. Meanwhile, Lisa, you were, like you were saying, dealing with some family drama, your boyfriend Cody, etc. You had some heart to heart. He did leave. And Maggie, you did finally touch base with Chelsea. You kind of lied to her again, but you did spend some time with her on Saturday. Luca, you spent the entire day, the next day, after finishing your shift with the DEA stakeout, resting at home. You had another vision of that drowned woman from Hypoluxo. This time, she was lying next to you in your bed. Maggie and Declan, you reunited again later on. Why the two of you keep working together, I still don't understand. This time, you did a couple different things. You visited the father of Franklin Elders, and there was the third missing child from the original debrief for the operation. And you went to the dock where Franklin's clothes were found near a drain outlet. At the docks, you learned that there were stray animals and stuff that were lingering around the docks. You also learned that Maggie was on local news footage, possibly related to some crimes that were happening in the Garrettson Mansions neighborhood. Other things, when you visited Devin Elders, who's the father of Franklin Elders, it did not go well. He was very angry, and he basically threw you guys out and shut the door on you. Luca, you contacted Thomas Cardasso Gomez's mother, Rebecca, and asked her some questions about spirits and about the voice. And she said that it's possible that they are what's called an exu, so a messenger spirit. And if you were trying to get them to go away, then you could do what she told her son to do, which is get some shells and the head of a pigeon and leave it either on a doorway or in a doorway or on a windowsill. But also maybe you just go talk to them. So you all kind of started to consult with each other again at a certain point. And Declan and Luca, you decided to stake out the Garrettson mansion. And while Declan was sleeping in the car on his shift, the voice once more contacted you, Luca, talking to you a little bit further now. And it said that she, again, can make the visions go away and can grant enlightenment, and that you should return in several days on the night of the new moon. And it said to bring the gate, and it would show you how to enter. But also that you can't tell your fellow agents because they mean us harm. And Declan, you awoke to the sun. It was rising. Luca did not reveal any of this to you. So only Luca knows all that kind of stuff, but I'm saying it for the stream. And we will pick up right there as you guys are driving away. And I would like to know, where are you driving to?
I believe I'm dropping off Declan.
Yeah, drop me off at my hotel.
Okay. So you guys are you just going to spend, so it's a Sunday. It is morning time. You drop Declan off at his hotel. are you then going home? Or are you trying to get some rest? You guys have been up most of the night, even though Declan did crash for a little bit. Are you guys gonna rest for some of the day, or you have plans?
I'd like to rest at least the morning.
Okay.
I don't think I would do anything till around lunchtime.
Okay.
And I need to rest as well for willpower.
Okay. So we will say then, without incident, you drop Declan off. You make it back to your own home. No issues along the way, and both of you get a little rest in the morning. We will turn our attention over to Maggie. Maggie, you spent last night, I believe, out partying with your friend Chelsea. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I would like you, if you don't mind, to roll a con times 5 check. Oh boy, I'm looking at the polls running out.
Here. 59 under 65. Nice first roll.
Okay. When you wake up in the morning, there is no signs of the hangover. There's no sign like you did manage to get some sleep. Whatever substances you imbibed the night before haven't been lingering to the morning. You can see that you probably came in fairly late because Chelsea probably forced that to a degree. And when you woke up in the morning, she was still there, sleeping in the same room as you, nearby anyway. And you awake. It's Sunday morning. We'll say mid-morning ish, so not super early, not super late. Somewhere in the 9 to 10 range when you get up on Sunday. What's Maggie's plan for the day?
Melissa just rolled willpower, and I'm back to full, so that was happy. I hadn't had to do that in a while, so rolled a 6. Okay. Only needed 3 willpower.
Right.
Yay for that. And then Maggie is probably going to do a brunch with Chelsea, because I imagine it was supposed to be a weekend, and so Chelsea might be heading out later in the day. So she's going to try to wrap up the hanging out with her, and then sort of try to wrap that up.
Fair enough. We'll say eventually she does wake up. You two pick out a brunch spot for Sunday, and you head out. Again, no incidents. And then finally, we'll turn over towards Lisa. Lisa, you wake up. This is the day after you've taken Cody to the airport. So you went back. You and him had a motel for a night, just for the two of you. But then last night, you returned to Aunt Viv's. You and Aunt Viv and Jamie, you wake up on a Sunday morning. You hear there's all sorts of commotion in the kitchen. When you go out there, you can see a robed and not yet put her face on Aunt Viv, who is making breakfast very sloppily with your daughter. And it's more Jamie, your daughter, making breakfast while Viv has what looks like orange juice, but you don't necessarily know what else might be in it nearby, and they're kind of having fun. So, what is Lisa's plan?
So Lisa's plan is to kind of just have a late morning at the house, depending on what time it is, and she wants to head to, I believe it's the New York Public Library.
If you want to head all the way into the city, you certainly can. I mentioned to you, it's I looked it up. It's about an hour and a half from where where Aunt Viv is. But you could potentially get there. It is Sunday. I did check the hours. There are some hours on Sunday. Most of the nearby public libraries in the area are closed on Sundays, but there are Sunday hours for New York Public Library. So you certainly can. What excuse do you give to Aunt Viv when
she's actually going to bring Jamie with her?
Oh, okay.
So it's just the two of them. Hey, I want to take Jamie to the library, but I think only the New York Public
Library. You're going to go an hour and a half into the city just to take it to a library?
Well, it's beautiful.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I suppose if that's what you want to do. I guess I could. Oh, I could do with a little bit of rest. I've been, I love Jamie. Don't get me wrong, but with you and your work stuff, I've been taking on a little bit more than I was prepared. Oh no, I love to do it. I love it. Your family. I love both of you so much. Sure. Okay. Sure. You can take my car if you want to drive, but I don't know if that's. Yeah. I think I'm just. Yeah. So she's just sort of like down to just hang out at home on Sunday and let you and Jamie kind of go into the city. She probably doesn't ask too many questions, I would say. Like if you bring up the library, she gives you like 100 other better places to go to bring a child to on a Sunday in late summer New York. The weather is not great. It's like a little sweltering, but she gives you plenty of other places you could potentially go and see. But yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. So with Luca and Declan and Maggie, I think everyone basically has an easy first half of their Sunday, and it isn't until kind of later in the day that you're probably going to do something. I'm going to start. Actually, we're going in reverse order. We'll start with Lisa. Oh dear, Lisa, are we going to say you're kind of driving all the way in, or are you gonna? What do you want to do? You can train it all the way in.
I think she would train. Yeah.
Okay. All right. At a certain point, Jamie's got her headphones on or whatever. She's either listening to music, playing a game, something like that.
Yeah.
You feel like a kick on your seat in the back. Just a little bump.
She'll like look over her shoulder.
And when you look over, you can see that pointing, there is a finger gun pointing in your face. And it's an old kind of wrinkly finger. And you see that there is a very familiar face on the other side. And you see Ronnie Lightside. And he goes, "Bang, you're dead."
Funny.
She listening?
No, she can't. She never hears me when she's got her headphones in.
Kid, you need to get your fucking head in the game. Do you think we pulled all these fucking strings to get you into the game for you to go around playing General fucking Hospital with your boyfriend and with your aunt? Get your shit in the game. It's missing kids.
Yeah,
it's a fucking unnatural building, possibly. And what are you doing?
And she just kind of shakes her head. I know.
You know.
Yeah.
When I put my... He doesn't have a New York accent. What am I doing? He's got like a Southern accent. That's right.
Yeah.
When I put my neck on the line for you, when I said no, she's got promise, I meant it. You disappoint me, and you make me look bad. And there are people who are gonna notice. Do you understand?
Okay, I understand.
And when they start kicking at the back of your chair, and when you turn around and face them, it ain't gonna be a finger gun that's pointing at you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And she glances at Jamie just to make sure she's not listening still. Okay, yeah. I think we're close to closing.
You're close to closing. You know his face I saw? I keep slipping into New York. It's cause we set this in New York. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to stick in it. Like,
maybe he's just a master of disguise. He just
maybe
blends
that's what
in.
It is. Maybe that's what it is. Listen, kid. You know his face I saw? I can't do it. I can't slip into. I can't do it. I can't stay in it. It's crazy. Okay. You know whose face I saw on the news?
Aggie's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw Aggie's face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did.
I hope I dealt with that. I got disguises, wigs at least.
You got wigs. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And you just kind of, oh, kid. Listen, I like you. You got a good heart. You're tough. You've been through a lot. But I swear to God, you need to get your shit together. This isn't a pep talk. That's not what this is. Don't confuse it.
Yeah.
As you stop, and he kind of gets up at this point. He starts walking. He kind of starts walking away, but then you see as he's getting up, he just sort of like drops something onto like Jamie's, like where Jamie's sitting.
Yeah.
And it's just like a handful of like candies or something like that. And she kind of gets it, and she looks up around all of a sudden, kind of confused. And by the time the two of you look up and you try to find where Ronnie is, he just sort of blends into like 2 or 3 people who are already getting off, and he's just like, where did he go?
I think Lisa at that point would take the time to pull out her phone and send like a text to like the group and be like, we need to get our shit together.
Okay.
Stop fucking around. Stop bragging about your book. And let's figure this out.
So at that
Meanwhile,
point,
Maggie's like drinking mimosas.
text goes through. Luca and Declan, we just sit with the camera pans over to where they're sleeping. We just hear, bzz, we see their phones just slightly move on their nightstands, but they're sleeping.
Yeah.
We pan over to Maggie. Phone like you've got a mimosa. You and Chelsea are drinking. You know, there's like a brunch scene going on. You all look all decked up for today. Maybe you don't even check the phone message just yet. And Lisa, you don't get any reply. I'm gonna say, Lisa, you don't get any replies back.
And when she doesn't get a reply, she's like, God, nobody takes me seriously. Throws her phone back in her purse.
Oh.
Okay. But at that point, like, you can kind of get up, you can make your connections, find your way downtown, no issues. And eventually you'll make it into the public library. A few times, I'm going to say there's an odd feeling when you're walking down certain streets. When you're walking and kind of cutting across here and there, you see like the same face sort of following you here and there. You see the same jacket here and there. You see the same, same reflection in a window, and you kind of turn and look, and like every time you turn and look, they just kind of move in a different direction, and like maybe you're just heads, your mind's kind of playing tricks on you. You look around, and you keep getting the feeling maybe you're being followed, but at the same time, you don't really have evidence for it. Every time you try to pick it up, whatever face it was or body that was following you kind of shifts in a different direction. But eventually, you and Jamie are able to make it to the New York City Library. What do you task your daughter with while you try to do something productive?
So from what I Googled, it's a huge library.
It's enormous. Yeah, don't worry about the mechanics of like where to go in it. Just like, what are you tasking her with doing? And then what are you figuring out?
She would task her with finding something that Jamie's really interested in. So I'm thinking of myself at that age. So her favorite author, to see if they have additional books elsewhere. I was a big Agatha Christie buff when I was like 10.
You read Agatha Christie books?
Yeah.
Like Agatha Christie.
Things.
Like
yeah, like the murder mystery.
Like Murder on the Orient Express. And
I didn't read Murder on the Orient Express, but I did read a lot of her other ones. I had my librarian in elementary school. We read those together all the time. Like
your librarian in elementary school gave you Agatha Christie books.
Yeah.
Your librarian in elementary school made a colossal error because those are not kids' books.
I'm a
but
weird
here we are
kid.
today, so
Do things make more sense now, Jeff? I was a weird
they're
kid.
not really culty, but like they're murder mystery books. Okay. I was wondering, like, do you mean like Beverly Cleary? Like,
no.
No. Okay. All right. There's plenty of things. I mean, there's stuff for kids to do here. Like, you can task kids. Like, again, we don't have to get too granular with it, but like, there's other different like events and programs and things like that. We don't have to really dig into it. But are you kind of I guess the question I have is like, are you keeping her with you, or are you like assigning her to a group that's kind of going like to a stranger that's doing something within the within the library?
If there's like a cool
event.
interactive activity, like she would assign her to that and then be like, hey honey, I'm gonna be over here reading these articles, but I have my phone on me and I'll come check on you in like an hour.
Okay. All right. So you leave your daughter with a stranger in New York?
I trust librarians.
I don't, not after that story you just told.
She was such a cool lady.
Okay. So I just made a note. And then then you're gonna start researching. So you just tell me what you are trying to look into today. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what are you looking for while you're here?
So I know one of the big things that I wanted to look into was the Suydam gentleman. I'm trying to find it.
Robert Suydam.
Suydam, yes.
I don't know how it's pronounced, but I find it easier to say Suydam, so I'm saying Suydam.
I like that. Yeah.
So, yeah. You wanted to do some research into Robert Suydam, who's okay. So it's the S. Garrettson Manson that is now being turned into these condominiums, and the S is Suydam Garrettson. Okay, and so you wanted to do some basic research on him. That I think can be accomplished. There's plenty of kind of old periodicals, old newspapers on file, stuff like that. So that's something.
Yeah, because she already knows that the S started to get dropped off around 1926, 1925 because of crimes.
That what happened? I'm sorry. Say that again.
So, some detail about the name being dropped off was because it was connected with certain crimes. So she knows the S, the Suydam, was dropped off. So like that, I think that's kind of what she would zoom in on. And then she also, there was like an owner who was known for doing occult stuff. I'm trying to find his name in my notes.
I think that was Suydam, because his wife were murdered.
I was wondering if I had a first name for him.
Robert.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's in your basic. You have the basic file.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
I deltagreen, it doesn't have like a library, so just do like in ×5, we'll say. And then while you're doing that, let's kick back over and say everybody starts waking up. Middle of the day, lunchtime, noon, something like that, 1 o'clock. Declan, Luca, you're up. Maggie, you're probably still with Chelsea. What are Luca and Declan doing for the second half of their Sunday?
I would reach out to Luca, see if he has any ideas, since he is the government official.
You get your phone, you go to dial in to Luca, you see there's a text from Lisa saying we got to get our shit together. Whatever that means. I respond,
WTF.
And obviously hers doesn't go off because she's in a library and she's turned it silent. But Luca will say you receive a phone call or text. What does Declan do?
I would give him a call.
All right.
Easier to talk in person.
You see whatever you've put Declan into your phone as pops up.
That's king.
Okay. So there you go.
What is it, Declan?
Luca, how are we going to solve this? What do we need to do to crack it?
Solve it. Thinking back, don't you remember Ronnie gave us that card?
Oh, yeah, the card. You have that? Do I have that?
It might be in my files here. I'll look up that vacuum number.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys were given, when you were first given the actual operation, you were given some instructions that I think you guys, up until recently, forgot about. So he basically said that what you need to do is if you uncover anything unnatural, you need to stop the incursion and you need to report it to deltagreen. And you were given a card and there's a company card for a VacuCare, which is a Newport, Connecticut business. And so there was a phone for there, and there was a code that you were supposed to punch in. There was also instructions that if you got any sort of like any books or anything like that, like anything that might be of occult nature, to bring it to a specific green box that you actually have a address for, that's in Jamaica, Queens. So I would say, I don't care who necessarily has it, but for sake of ease, we can say that one of you has it. That's fine. But you do, in fact, have a phone number. And it is for vacuum care.
But it's for reporting our results.
It is for agents are to stop the incursion and report it to deltagreen. That's what you've been told.
All right. Luca, I've got this piece of wood with the strange symbols on it. Why don't we take it to the drop box? I'll meet you there.
All right, sounds good. I'll let the others know.
Okay. Green box 1191. It is in Jamaica, Queens, at a company called We Store You. And so we'll say the two of you start heading over there. What about Maggie? What do you want to do?
So Maggie will kind of wrap up, hug, kiss with, Chelsea, and then she'll pull out her phone.
Wait, you're not flying back with me? What?
No, I had to change my flight.
Why did you change? You didn't tell me you changed your flight? I can still change my flight. Do you want to stay longer? I have more hours. I got sick time.
No, it's just still work stuff. So
work stuff.
Not going to be any more.
I talked to my dad, and he said that there's nothing going on with work with you. Why are you lying to me, Maggie? It's
work stuff. I don't run every single thing. Like, Dad and I are different divisions.
You took the time off to hang out with me, and then half the time you don't even spend with me. So
I know. But we went out last night. We had brunch. We're good. You're gonna get on a plane, and I'm gonna
We came to New York. We went out one night together, and then we did one brunch together, and that's everything that we did. All the other nights, I was out by myself. Well, not by myself.
I was gonna say you weren't just hanging out in the hotel room staring at the TV.
But you were supposed to be with me.
You had fun.
You were supposed to be with me, but you weren't. You ditched me.
I'm sorry. Do I need to remind you of girls' trip 03? I don't think you want me throwing that back in your face, do you?
Roll a persuasion test.
He pulls out her laminated card, starts looking it up.
What year is it? What? Yeah.
This is 2011. We're in 2011. Girl stuff.
Okay.
Girl stuff.
I'm gonna pull an audience for this one so that I've got at least a 50-50 on this.
I like how you're pulling out and says, just not to piss your friend off. That's great.
All right, 16 under 40.
Okay. You see her face kind of go a little white. Like, you said you weren't going to bring that up ever again.
Well, I mean, you're kind of being a little bit of pissy about this.
You said you weren't ever going to bring it up ever again, and now you're bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Maggie? If you want to stay here, stay here. If you don't want to fly home with me, fine. Okay? You don't want to spend time with your best friend, with your only friend, fine. Fine. And she gets up. Have a fun time in New York with your work stuff that is totally not work stuff. And then she kind of gets up in a huff. And even though you had a relatively nice morning, nice brunch, she is not in a particularly happy state as she leaves.
And Maggie's just going to yell after her, have a safe flight.
And she holds up a bird and she flicks you off as she walks away.
Sure.
Okay.
And then she's going to pull out her phone and see Lisa 2 hours ago. Was like,
yeah, exactly.
We need to get our shit together. And she's going to, and so Maggie's going to text back coming to you, where are you?
Yeah. And Lisa will reply, and she'll, to you explicitly, she'll tell you, ran into Ronnie on the train.
And Maggie's understands what that means. And so she's going to text back crap, coming. I'm assuming I am closer than an hour and a half away from the library.
Yeah, I think we established you were closer to the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
will go
Lisa's
to
out
Lisa.
in Long Island. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll say that you're going to meet up with Lisa. The guys are going to go to this green box. Let's kick then over to the library. And how did you do on your int times 5 roll there, Lisa?
I did 23.
Under?
I
was just saying
My
that so I
int-
can scroll and find what I want.
is
Okay.
65 as my target.
Okay, so you are just looking for like basic background on him. Is that kind of all? All right. So if you're looking for details about him, basically, I would say there's a lot of stuff that you already have from the file that you were given, but then you can kind of corroborate here and there. But Robert Suydam is his name. He of Dutch origin. He basically came over to New York much younger in life, and he married Cornelia Garretson in 1925, and it was that same year that they passed. I'll say that as you're kind of flipping through and looking through stuff, like you're basically having to dig into like really, really old like microfiche records of like these scanned in society magazines, society newspapers and stuff like that. And I would say you're probably struggling a little bit to find a whole lot of detail on him. But you do at a certain point come across, and it takes a while, I'm going to say. It actually takes a lot of time, probably enough time before Maggie eventually arrives. You find actually a blurry photograph from a newspaper cover. Doesn't actually say what cover it is. It's nothing. You don't really recognize a lot of the details surrounding it, the other articles, but you do find a blurry photo of Robert Suydam, and there's a little description of the photo. Brooklyn resident and eccentric recluse Robert Suydam announces engagement to Cornelia Garretson. And you see this very blurry photo. You can tell it was not scanned in particularly well. And you can see that it looks, you're not sure where he's at, but it's a very affluent room, like dining room area. There's other folks around of some kind. And you can see that he's probably an older man, like in his 60s or so. You would probably peg him. And his fiance, who is right next to him, Cornelia Garretson, is much younger. She looks to be like in her 20s. And as you kind of start flipping through that piece, you learn a little bit about how he, like at the time, like the write-up of like this society pages, found it to be like a quote, wholly bizarre union. Like it was like really bizarre that the two of them shacked up, because apparently Suydam spent almost his entire life in a relative like, he's kind of an erudite basically, in that he had no real interest in marriage, and he was like a lifelong bachelor. And then suddenly at the age of 60 something, he just came out and he wanted to get married. And the Cornelia Garretson was like part of like a rich family, and the two of them kind of made their acquaintance, and they got married. Now, the write-up that you're reading is basically just the equivalent of like kind of a society rag, like the idea of like this is just the announcement of this, and these are noteworthy people. It doesn't really have any particularly fancy clues to it. How good did you do again? You rolled like a 20 something under
23 under a 65.
Okay. I'll say it's around at this point that Maggie, you'll probably arrive. You'll track down Lisa, who's hard at work, and I'll say like, just because I want everyone to be together to a degree. So we'll say you're able to kind of come involved and get involved in this. The two of you can also notice that there's a lot of conflicting news stories that you start seeing popping up. What you do notice is that none of the more acclaimed news reporting agencies at the time have any details at all. Likely because it was like kind of scrubbed away. But you do see that there's a lot of the equivalent of like a National Enquirer kind of rag. that say that he was, there's various news stories. Some say that he was the victim of dark arts. Some say that he was a founding member of a cult. Others say that his and his wife's death were related to some sort of strange kind of dark cult or whatever. And because like she was found, or they were both killed like on their wedding night, and she was found in this like horrible state. And then there were all sorts of these grandiose claims about him being tied to these gruesome crimes in the 20s that involved many deaths, and some of those being children on his property. And again, you can't really find any specific reputable news organization, news site, news reference, nothing that seems to be chronicled in any kind of other sorts of sources. All of it's kind of salacious.
Okay.
I'll say, Maggie, if you arrive, you can go ahead and roll an int times 5 as well.
I did have a question about that. So was she a similar age to him?
No, she was in her 20s.
Yeah, she was
in her
much
20s.
younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. She's got kind of like a
Um,
flapper girl kind of look to her when you see her
What
in
did you say that I'm rolling?
engagement photo. Let's roll an int times 5 and let me know how you do.
That is a 55 under 85.
A crit. Okay. The two of you, I would say, are probably going to be able to work until the closing time. And this doesn't, the New York Public Library has like hours to like mid-afternoon on Sunday, so you're not going late into the day. But I'll give you one more big chunk that you get, and that is at some point you find not just like you found photos, Lisa, already of like an engagement announcement in a society mag. Maggie, you actually find at one point blurry photos of the wedding ceremony. And again, they're old photos, they're sepia, they're faded, they're not extraordinarily clear. And at first glance, when you're kind of passing by, you look at it, like you see the two of them again. You see a handful of other folks around here and there. It just looks like any old kind of Catholic ceremony like that you would expect to find in like kind of New York City. But then, Maggie, just as you're about to kind of push it off to the side, not noticing anything, you catch something out of like another corner of your eye. And you look in the back of the photo, not at the people, but something hanging on the wall. And you thought at first it was just sort of like a crucifix, Jesus. But you realize it's not. When you look a little bit more closely, you realize it's a painting, and it's a painting not of, it doesn't look like kind of, Jesus reaching down. Instead, you realize that it actually is a woman in the painting, and not like a very common depiction of like Mary or anything like that. It's a very dark-haired woman. You can tell it's almost looks like smudges to a degree, but she's sort of regal and divine in how she's kind of standing upwards, and it's all very grainy. But you can tell that like she's in the foreground of this painting. And even though you don't have the plate on you, both of you have seen it. Both of you might even have, I think, photos of it on your phones. You can almost see like just the quality of the image is surprisingly good in the background. These geometric curves, not unlike what was on that plate that you have, that appear in the background, almost like clouds or mountains, like in the background of that image. And that is what you see.
And so Maggie kind of looking at that is just sort of elbowing Lisa, kind of the quiet in the library, but just kind of
print that out. We need to add that to the file.
That's not how this is going to work.
However that works. I don't know. Like I've ever used one of those things.
You can't print stuff. But yeah, okay. But that's what you see. And I'll say at this point, it's around this time where you see there is a very lovely librarian, a young librarian man, probably in his early to mid 20s, who is walking with Jamie, and they're like kind of laughing and talking. You can kind of hear the sort of like the voice that a older person kind of does for a younger person that's a little bit brighter, a little bit louder. And she's like getting very excited, telling him about all the books that she was reading, and like he's like recommending different books as well. and like leads Jamie up to you, Lisa. And like she comes running at you, and she's got like this whole stack of books, and she's just like, "Mom, can we check this one out? Can we check this one? I want to show this one to Viv. I want to show this one to Viv." And then I read this one, and then this one, and she's just kind of going through them all. And he's like, "Hi,
wow.
hey,
Hi, thank you so much. How was the activity?"
Oh, it's so much fun, Mom. It was so much fun. This is so much better than our library back home. Oh my God, it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't smell really bad, and second of all, they have so many books here. It's amazing. This place is huge.
Isn't it?
It's so good. And she's like crazy excited. Like probably. Like I would say, like to a certain degree, Jamie has probably been a little bit. It's been an interesting bounce back since the events in Hypoluxo, but you can definitely see like she's very, very effervescent and exciting to kind of get into this. And I'll leave it at that. And then you can kind of think about how you want to deal with her and Maggie, and what the two of you want to do next. So I'll give you some time to think about that, and we'll kick over to the guys. Luca and Declan, you guys are going over to Jamaica, Queens. You two meet, no problem. You have a punch code. So this is a 24-hour place, so you can come into it any 24 hours a day as long as you have your punch code, which I think you should have. Yeah, you do have. You can see that there is. Hang on, I gotta roll something. You can see that there is a gate, a security guard at the gate to enter into this place. And guy maybe in his 30s or so, you can see he's just sort of leaning back. He's kind of in a chair. He's got what looks like just newspaper up, just kind of flipping through. Looks like he's got the Sunday New York Times up. Maybe he's doing the crossword puzzle. And he sees the two of you go up. Do you guys say anything, or you just guys kind of punch and go?
Act like we belong.
Okay, guess punch and go. He just at one point just kind of looks, and he just kind of gives you like a little nod, watches to make sure you guys, when you punch the codes in, the gate opens up, you kind of go through, and that's that. You guys are carrying. You guys are carrying the gate or the
wood
the plate
door thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a plate is how I'm describing it. So you're carrying that with you, and anything else?
How big is this
I don't
thing?
think we.
Not very. You guys can carry
Foot and a half by a foot and a half.
It's not very big at all. Like you can.
I'm imagining like the size of a fuse box door.
I might have the exact dimensions. Let's see. It's 3 feet by basically 4.25 feet.
Oh shit, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luca, you carry it.
It's wood. It's not like extremely light, but either of you can carry it. It's not like super heavy, but like it's pretty much wood. There were some metal hinges that were on it that were kind of connecting it into the wainscoting, and so like on one side of it, it has that sort of mirrored look, so it looks just like the wainscoting, and you could kind of pull it off. The inside is black, and that's where you have those strange geometric shapes that are kind of carved into it here and there. And there were some brass hinges, but you the way you detached it, you might have not even had the brass hinges. Okay, so he doesn't really pay attention, doesn't seem to be interested. He just kind of goes back to his thing. And the two of you look around. You look for 1191. And you do find it. It is... Okay. So the property that you're in is got a fence. It's about 5 meters high, I think. And you've got it's about a football field in terms of its size, and there's about 40 different storage units. And it doesn't really take you long to find the unit. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. You just track it down based upon number. There is like the padlock door on various places, and you're able to open up 1191. You have the access stuff. You have the punch codes, no issues. When you open it up, it is... it's about, each storage unit like is about 5 square meters or so. And you can see it's all, cemented here and there. But you can see that there's this heavy clutter on the inside. And I would say both of you were there when you went to the Hypoluxo one, right? When you guys went to the Hypoluxo thing.
Right.
It's giving you similar
There was a
vibes.
third person there, but I forgot her name.
Who? The guy?
There was a third person there.
There's an NPC who went with you guys. Maybe that's who it was. So inside, there is just tons of items. You look around, it's just like it just looks like it's a little mismatched. It just looks like a hoarder's garage. You can see a pool table. You can see a broken or smashed jukebox. You can see this large pile of antiquated ski equipment. You can see a wooden pallet that's covered with a tarp. And you can tell that there's tons of stuff underneath it. You can even see a few things kind of peeking out underneath.
I lift the corner of the tarp.
Okay. You see a small stone dais that seems to be fairly elaborate in design. And it's inside of a orange Home Depot bucket. You can see that in addition to that, there's evidence at the base that makes it look like it was clearly removed in a forceful kind of jackhammered way. Like you can see this jagged nature. And spray painted on the stone in red paint is "Do not touch." You can see that on top of this dais, there is a small teak wood lidded box that's sitting on top of it. You can see that around, I would say, Luca, maybe you noticed that there are about 14 AK-47s that seem to be packed in crates with Chinese characters on the sides. Maybe one of the crates is slightly open, and you can see the rows of the guns on the inside. You guys can see that there is a plastic medical chest brace. There appears to be a shrink wrap bag of some heft, and on the outside of it, it says "Property of the United States Department of State," and it is covered in yellow dust. And looks to also be a couple books here and there, magazines, stuff like that as well.
Yellow dust?
It's yellow grating dust.
I take a little finger of the dust. Seems a little odd to be yellow.
This is quite the evidence locker. Not sure we should touch any of it.
What do you think would happen if we touched that thing in the bucket there?
By the way, when you do your little streak of dust, you can see on the underside, as you now clear away a little streak of it, that inside of the bag, which was just translucent on the outside, you can see that there's money on the inside, like cash.
I've already got money. I'm not worried about that. I want the cool stuff.
You ain't that rich. Okay.
New York Times bestseller.
Again, I've met New York Times bestsellers. They don't. Okay, anyhow.
Luca, what do you think would happen if we touched that thing in the bucket there?
Oh, the thing that says "Do not touch."
I mean, maybe it's like reverse psychology.
I'm not getting myself into that.
I'm looking around. Are there cameras inside this unit?
What's your alertness?
It is low, 26.
You don't see anything like that, no.
It doesn't look like
there were cameras on the site, but nothing here. Nothing inside.
Nothing recording to know if we touch it or not.
I'm not a snitch. Do what you please.
Let's keep looking around. We'll find a good spot for this. I'll think on it.
I mean, that's basically all that you kind of see in terms of the interesting things. Like there's other, various boxes of this or that. Some of them empty. Some of them like milk crates that haven't been used recently. And a lot of other things just looks like stacks of books or stacks of magazines here and there. You see what looks like about 200 different copies of National Geographic, neatly stacked, and another 100 copies of Reader's Digest. I would say also right next to it, kind of hidden and slid between them, you notice that there is a leather-bound tome that's kind of hidden behind the stacks of these mundane magazines.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
Okay. What languages does Declan speak?
Not many useful ones. Where would I have listed it? In skills?
Very, very bottom.
So the only foreign language I know is Old English.
Okay.
Because that's what I specialized in for my history.
Okay, so when you take it out, you realize it's very fragile. And when you open it up, you realize that it is a handwritten copy of a book titled De Verbis Mysteriis. And it is all in Latin. And it's very old. The pages are very, very fragile.
I don't know what this says, but it looks like that's mysteries. That look like mysteries to you?
I don't read Latin.
But it's like the root language, what kind of mysteries are in there?
If you would like to roll an int test, I'll say you can roll an int test. If you don't specifically speak Latin, if you want to roll just an int test, that's fine. See if you can maybe translate it, or maybe you've heard.
Is that human?
No, humans
or just intelligence? Oh, okay,
just intelligence.
Just intelligence. Okay. Oh, I'm pretty good at that. Need an 80.
I hear you're almost as good as Maggie.
I got a 21.
Okay. You don't speak you don't speak Latin, but you are able to piece together that this translates roughly as mysteries of the worm.
I wonder, you think if I took this back to the hotel for the night, brought it back tomorrow morning, no one would notice, right?
This is I don't know what's in here. I'm not dealing with it. Declan.
I mean, it's in a stack of National Geographics. They're obviously not worried about it.
He didn't say we couldn't take anything.
That's true. He didn't. I want to look at the thing in the bucket a little closer.
He did actually explicitly tell
I feel like you
Declan not to
guys-
take
I don't
anything.
remember.
I literally told you guys not just not touch anything, not just not take anything, not touch anything.
I actually remembered that, but I wanted to go with Luca. I just wanted
I remember
to
the first time. I don't remember the second time.
All right, so Declan, there's one other thing I would say you would notice, by the way. On the back cover of the book, there is a handwritten note that reads 9922.2298912.333. This is it. And that's in English.
I will copy that onto my notepad that I keep with me. We've already established I do. My moleskin.
If you would like to roll an occult, or do we have an occult? I think there's a cult. See, I'm getting my Call of Cthulhu stuff confused.
I've got
Occult is
53
the
in
skill.
occult.
Go ahead and roll an occult test.
I want to take an audience die too. So that gives me plus 10, right?
This is merely to get some vague reference.
I know, but I want to know.
That's it. Yeah.
I needed a 53. I rolled a 57, so it's good that I took the audience die.
Okay. This is a book that is apparently about alchemy and witchcraft. And I would in like Egyptian or Arabic sorcery. You probably don't know much more than that. You know that it might have been written by somebody by the name of Ludwig Prynne. That name sounds familiar, and maybe that's what it is from your memory. But that is what you think this is. It is a book that has to deal with witchcraft and necromancy, Egyptian and Arabic sorcery, demons, that sort of thing. It's very,
is it
very old.
Illuminated? Like, are there images in it?
I don't believe it is illuminated. It doesn't say so. So no, I think it's actually it's written in line.
I'm writing down the whole note on the back. I'm writing down the title, and I'm writing down the author, and I will leave it for now. But I do want to look at the thing in the bucket a little closer.
All right. When you go ahead and you're putting the book back where you found it.
Yeah. Ish.
When you put the book back, you do notice as you put it back that there are very clear fingerprint smudges on the side of the book and all around it where you were handling it.
I smear them so you can't get a real fingerprint. It just looks like someone touched it now.
Roll a luck test.
All right. That's just 50, right?
It's just 50-50.
Yeah. 19.
Okay. You do not permanently damage this thing as you smear it around. Okay. So you wanted to look more at this dais. Okay. Luca, what have you been doing before we indulge Stephen more?
Interested in the AKs.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. If you want to go over, there are a couple crates of these. You see one of them has sort of been cracked open, but the others are intact. You can see that they are all Chinese made. You probably are able to piece that together. All of them have, like, there are Chinese characters on the boxes themselves. And when you open them up, you notice that there are 4 cases inside the boxes of Soviet ammunition.
It all seems pretty real.
It all seems real, yeah.
What was that other thing you said that was owned by the states?
There is a shrink wrap bag that was covered in yellow dust that after Declan dragged a finger across it, not only can you see property of the United States Department of State, you can see that inside is some cash. Lots of it.
Cash.
Are you the type of agent that skims off the top?
Property of the state. I work for it, so technically ours.
This is technically mine. There's a whole thing with like illicit cash gains is like a whole home scene thing that you could do to get like a stash of illegal money to start using stuff. None of us never do that kind of stuff, but I always kind of wish somebody did because it's kind of fun. All right. Anything else you wanted to look at? The other things in here of note, Luca, were there was a plastic medical chest brace. That when I'll say if you look at that, which is near that shrink wrap bag, you notice something really, really strange about it, Luca. And it's a medical chest brace. Okay. But as you walk around from the backside to the front, you notice that there is a Glock 19 that has been installed and it is pointing inward towards the chest. You can see that there is a pneumatic push button that seems to attach, like an attachment that's kind of rigged that you think is meant to sort of trigger the gun itself. And inside the brace, you can notice that there is this very long dried blood stain on the inside.
Oh, wow. It's quite the device. I'm going to leave this stuff here, Declan, but I think I'm done looking.
What is that?
Your best guess is as good as mine.
All right, help me move this bucket real quick.
Okay. You move the bucket a little bit. It's the stone. It's not like heavy to move. The two of you can easily do it. You can see that there's a fairly elaborate design to this thing. There's nothing about the dais itself that looks. It very well could just be like a, like the equivalent of a bird bath, but instead of it having a bowl at the top, it's more of a flat stone surface. There's a spray painted in that stone is the do not touch. And then you can see that as you're moving it on top of the dais, there is a teak wood lidded box that is sitting atop it.
So it says not to touch the stone, right? What do you think's in the box?
Keep asking me what I think, Declan, and I think you shouldn't be playing with these.
How much money do you think's in that bag?
Thousands.
Should we count it just to know? Why don't you go count it?
I'll be out here. Let me know when you're done.
I'm opening the box.
You're opening the box? The teak wood lidded box. Okay. You open it up. You look inside, and you can see there is just sort of like a moth wing on the inside. Not a full moth, just a moth wing.
The hell? It's just a moth wing. Luca, did you hear me? It's just a moth wing.
It's an old storage container. Bugs probably flew in there.
There's nothing left. It's just the wing. There's nothing else.
I appreciate Stephen actually raising his voice to talk to Luca, who clearly is outside ignoring him.
All right. I'll shake the wing around a little bit. I guess I'll put it back.
Do you put the wing back in the box back on the dice, or do you take any of it with you?
I don't think I took the wing out of the box.
Okay. Fair enough.
Chat wants to know if you touched the wing because you opened the box and saw the wing. Did you touch the wing?
I'm not going to touch a dead bug. That's gross.
Okay.
I do feel disappointed by that. I want to go back and take the book.
Okay. So you go back and you take the book. That's no problem. Put it in your inventory.
I'd like to cover it a little bit awkwardly so Luca can't actually see since he's out of the room.
How badly do you not want him to see?
Mildly. I would prefer if he didn't know, but he already knows I was touching.
Go ahead and roll stealth. And then, Luca, what's your alertness?
It's 70.
Okay. So, Declan, you're rolling against a 70.
I need to be under 70?
Just roll. Let me know what you get.
I failed my stealth. 23 over 14.
Okay. So, Luca wasn't actively looking for anything. I'm going to say that, Luca, you do just instinctively, you are a DEA agent. You do, you see Declan's carrying something. You don't know what it is, but you can see he's carrying. You're pretty sure he took something, and he's kind of trying to pass it off like he didn't take anything.
It's quite obvious, Declan. Come on.
Plausible deniability.
I said I wouldn't tell anybody. Let's go.
You go to, Declan, you reach up, you kind of pull the door down. As you do, you watch, and you just hear a little vibration, and you watch as that teak wood box that's sitting on top of the dais just sort of just moves a little bit, like it's a phone vibrating on your nightstand.
You see that? Did you see that?
See you taking something? Yeah, I saw.
No, the box, it moved.
I did see
Let's go
that,
back.
yeah.
Let's go back. Lift the door back up.
Can't be serious. I'll lift it up real quick.
What's another minute gonna? I want to look at the box again. I'll open it up.
You open it up. It's the same thing that you saw when you put it in there.
God damn it. I'll pick up the wing.
Jeff,
You picked
just
the wing
so
up.
you're aware, you have
Oh, I saw.
5 complications. Okay.
I am limited. I can't just do anything I want. I use complications in a way that are consistent with what I'm doing. I just make things worse I just make things harder.
There's not going to be a
worse.
goblin ambush.
Yeah, I'm not just going to suddenly have dudes with shotguns and gas masks just pop out of nowhere.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
But don't worry, they have been logged and plans are in motion. Steven, you open it up. It's the same thing you saw before. There's the wing inside. You take the wing.
Yeah, I'll put it in a pocket.
Okay. Take the small moth wing, carefully put it in your pocket. Assuming maybe you
wrap it in a handkerchief or something.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same page. You go to leave. Go to pull the gate down, and you see as that box just shakes.
Damn it, put the gate back up.
What else do you want?
Just 1 second. I'm frustrated now. I take the handkerchief with the moth wing, I throw it in the box, and I put the box in my coat, and I walk out.
Okay. You close the gate, and this time nothing happens.
Damn right.
Dude, we're so fucked. Are you kidding me?
Right? Although chat was pointing out how in Impossible Landscapes there were golden beetles that we were eating because that's how desperate we are. And
No, we decided to eat them after long. Was like, hell yeah, this is fine.
Different game. Okay. You guys go to leave. It's still light out, late afternoon, closing in on evening time, but you still got some hours left. You think about what you guys would do next. I'm going to come back to Maggie and Lisa, who closing down, libraries closing down. You've got Jamie back with you. You've got Maggie with you. So a couple questions I'll ask. What do you tell her about the fact that you've got this friend with you or this person with you? And then what are you two doing? You did learn a few things here and there. So what do you guys do after this?
I think how Lisa would introduce Aggie to her daughter is, so Jamie, this is Aggie, Miss Aggie. I met her here. She works at the FEMA office in Brooklyn.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
I'm pretty hungry. Are you hungry? Do you mind if Aggie comes with us to get lunch?
Okay.
Okay.
It's also
and then
5. So
yeah, our dinner. So yeah. So then Lisa and will like look to Aggie like, okay, where are we eating? Like
we don't need to stress.
And, yeah.
You guys go? Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
And then what we'll kind of do is when we go out there to eat, we'll kind of review whatever notes we took each other, figure out like what do we need to report. Lisa specifically took note of what you said it was a microfiche that we saw the picture on.
Yeah, we'll say that because it's like old newspapers that have been like sort of scanned into the system.
Yeah, so she'll kind of like make note of where we found that to see if that's something that Delta Green can remove if they need to.
Okay.
To report.
Good to know.
Because it did have the symbols on it.
Good. Your kitchen on quick there, and she'll just call you mama while you're hanging out with Jamie because she's not quite sure like what your
the
like,
first time you call her
is,
that she's like you can call me Lisa outside of work. That's fine.
Okay. That, you know,
Maggie's freaking
she's
weird.
being called Aggie, so
yeah.
Just called a random other friend mama. Okay, so the two of you with Jamie, you go get an early dinner. Not a problem at all. I can find a place for that. You share your notes. I'm going to assume everything that you found you shared with each other. Not an issue at all. The guys, you have left your place. You have left your that. So let's just say we're moving into like evening time. Sun's still kind of lingering on the horizon. What's next for all four of you?
Luca, what do you say we live up to your name? Start an inferno.
You want to burn the building?
The only way to be sure.
I think we just let Delta Green deal with it, no? That's what Ronnie told us.
We are
Point
Delta
of order,
Green.
by the way. None
We
of
don't know
you
it's called
know
that.
the term Delta Green. It is not a phrase that is used. Just
We
refer
are
to
the
as, like,
ones.
the program or something like that, or
Okay.
various other vagueness.
We just let the organization deal with it.
We are the organization. We're the ones dealing with it. We're dealing with it. It's like if firemen showed up to a fire and said that the firemen deal with it.
It makes sense. As an agent myself, of course I want to figure out and deal with the problem, but
I mean, if you found a giant pile of cocaine, would you say let the DEA handle it?
no, of course not.
So let's handle it. Let's meet the others. We'll take a vote.
That sounds better.
I don't want to deal with you
Okay.
alone anymore.
So Lisa, Maggie, you're getting contact, whatever. So what? So we can talk outside of scene. What's next? You guys tell me.
Okay.
We're at that stage in the investigation. Like, you got a kid to deal with, but other than that, you guys all have a little bit of weird information here and there. It's late afternoon, early evening on a Sunday. What's next?
So we've caused enough, like a significant ruckus at the building, right?
Yes.
You've caused a ruckus. I don't know. So just to go through the list, a man got hit by a car, broke his leg. Woman was seen running away.
Yep.
Another man who works there was assaulted by Maggie and threatened and then ran away. Has seen the faces of Maggie, Luca, and Declan at the site. Declan did actually vandalize room 35, unit 35, and vandalize the front entrance into the building as well. I think
Make it look like someone else did it.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
The door was open when I was there.
Those are all of the things that you guys did.
Yeah. So after we drop off Jamie, Lisa's first thing she wants to troll is like the wanted posters. Is Maggie's face still circulating? Is now there anything out for Declan and Luca?
No, there's nothing actually out for Declan and Luca, and I don't want to overstate what went down with Maggie. It was like a local news quick broadcast.
Oh, just like we're looking for this.
It wasn't like all points bulletin for a woman.
Yeah,
like
no.
It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, oh,
one night on the local news, tomorrow night
like,
they've moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
The Red Hook neighborhood of Brooklyn saw something strange happening tonight, and that's basically was a report. And like there was like pictures of her and then the sketch and stuff like that. So like
right before the segment about the local bakery doing a cookie fundraiser.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I think in terms of
Plus
like information that we've gotten that we haven't like followed up with more. So there's the Zenov Construction is the actual current owner of the building that I don't think we've done kind of research into them. So like they have multiple properties in New York and Massachusetts. They are the actual owners of the building. So that's something that we haven't, could and look into a little bit more. This could be not at all useless, but Maggie's been curious to possibly, if we do go to like City Hall, to try to get some records on the construction, like sale of the building, the construction company, also trying to gather information, which I think would still also be like city records, something with map of like sewer lines and some of those kinds of things, since we keep kind of getting these kind of pop-up pipe things that connect to that. So both of those two things seem to be a Monday through Friday City Hall, city planning records stuff. So
Monday doesn't work for me. I've got an interview.
That's fine. I didn't need you there. Maggie didn't necessarily miss Declan today while they were not hanging out after yesterday evening.
I did want to look up the sewer lines. I think that's a good idea.
I was going to say, if it's possible, and I don't know, Luca, maybe I don't know if your badge would get you anywhere, but I was going to try to see if Maggie, because with her work, she's contracted out to different entities over time. So might say that she's sort of got like an old badge for something, like a, not law enforcement badge, but like a work badge of some kind that she might try to flash to see the records.
Yeah, it can work if you need stuff.
Yeah.
Did anyone else plan to go back to the building? So that was one of the decisions.
I have a plan for when we go back to the building. Do we want to vote on that now? I mean, it's Sunday. We've been on this for a long weekend. Do we even want to push it another day? We can call it case closed tonight.
Did you not hear Lisa and I were just talking that we think there's like possibly sewers and other things connected, like the building itself?
You invited them to the restaurant where you guys are having your dinner, and that's where this is happening.
Oh, sorry.
So just so we all know.
Yes.
I mean, you can do that research afterwards. And then if there's something else, we'll pursue it then. But at least we'll have this taken care of, and we'll know that isn't there another moon cycle happening soon?
So if you're
it's
looking,
already been moon cycles since the last kid went missing, because it was March, April, and May. In June and July, we don't have any reports of kids going missing.
so you would be able to very easily with phones and stuff. It is the last quarter moon today. It's going to be waning crescents for most of the week, and then next weekend, a week from today, is going to be a new moon next Sunday.
I say we just give Vacu a call right now. So we know the place.
I'm sorry, Luca, what'd you say?
We call Vacu on the card.
He's saying that we report that the case is covered. That is closed.
Oh, right. We got the card.
Well, I mean, we don't necessarily, like, we're just reporting that we found activity there.
Exactly.
Like, that we've confirmed.
We uncovered unnatural. And to stop the incursion, isn't this what we're doing?
Our job is
Have we
not
stopped anything?
to solve the kid murders,
Wait,
just to see if they're connected.
When he said to stop the incursion, do you mean stop investigating the incursion, or like stop the incursion?
Stop. So
unnatural.
An incursion is when the unnatural effectively is creeping out into the world and becoming more and more obvious. Okay, so it's affecting the world, and so when you discover that something unnatural is happening, so like a haunted house or whatever, or or a monster rampaging in a suburb, stopping the incursion is stopping the unnatural from influencing the world, right?
Okay.
And then keeping it secret so that the public doesn't know about it. That's Deltagreen's like modus operandi. Stop the unnatural and keep it hidden. Keep
Okay, that makes it more clear, because I was under the assumption we just stop what we're doing.
No,
like,
no.
Stop it.
No, I mean, like, you were not tasked with like finding what happened to the kids necessarily. Like, your task was trying to assess whether or not something unnatural is happening, whether or not the Garretson building, which showed up in a 1961 Deltagreen case file called Operation Blister. You were on Operation Blister 2. It's completely redacted. You have no idea what happened. And you're trying to decide whether or not this is a hot spot of unnatural activity, and whether the 3 kids that went missing, and they went missing with some strange circumstances, whether they were related, and figuring out how to stop whatever unnatural bits are causing it. So that's your job. You guys have not completed your task.
No.
Okay, that makes me more partial to setting the room ablaze then.
That's 2. One of you needs to agree, and we got the majority.
Since that's what Luca and Declan have said, Maggie and Lisa, I was give me an int times 5 roll.
All right, rolling under 85. Oh, damn.
Did you fail?
49, and I needed
97.
Okay.
65.
So obviously, Maggie, do whatever you want in terms of agreeing or disagreeing. But Lisa, if I would say for you, it might dawn on you, like you think, and you apply this however you want. But at some point, like the idea is to stop the unnatural. There were 3 disappearances of children, all strange, all not at the Garretson mansion. You've yet to discover whether or not there's any actual connection to it. And although some strange shit has actually gone down at the Garretson mansion, there's nothing. Like, and burning it down might halt that. There's still a lot that is unclear about the relationship, whether or not there is a relationship. Because one of the things was, is there a connection between the 2? And you probably haven't deduced that yet. So that's whether or not Lisa cares. That's up to you to decide. But I would say that's something to think about.
I think with Ronnie, with like her instance that she had with Ronnie, Lisa is more invested now than she was before. She was really distracted, so she's gonna more push for this. And we haven't figured out officially if there's a connection yet between the disappearances and in this building. Sure, there's 2 separate instances of weird things happening, but we don't know for sure if they're related. And there's no saying that if we stop this one thing, that weird stuff isn't going to pop up elsewhere and continue to happen. like, I get you have stuff that you want to do, but just an easy fix, that's not going to solve this.
No, that's fair. That's a good point.
We still have research to do.
All right. Let's do more research then.
We may also want to get a better sense of who actually owned the building in 1961, because it's a kind of gesture to kind of the files didn't tell us.
You have all that info. That's all in the. It's been a while, but like in your initial perusal, you do actually have a full accounting of changing of ownership and all that kind of stuff. So you actually do have all that info.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it for you again because I have.
Yeah, because it was 1926 when Garrettson inherited the mansion. Then it was sold to an educational company, and it was condemned in 74.
Okay, so it was built. Okay, so this is what you know. You know that it is a federal style house located 124 Buckingham Road in Flatbush, Brooklyn. It was once called the Suydam House, then it became the Suydam Garrettson House. Now, and then it was S. Garrettson at a certain point. You know that there was original construction was in the 1840s that was broken by the Suydam family. You know that, let's see, it was inherited. It was inherited by Gunther Garrettson in 1926. Who was the father of Cornelia Garrettson, who is the deceased wife of Robert Suydam that you saw in the picture in the photographs in the library. You know that Garrettson's son then sold it to the Devant family in 1945. They sold it in 1951 to the Eder Education Company for use as a remedial school. And then in 1974, it was condemned and gifted to the city and used as a halfway house for the mentally ill. Zenov Construction brought it in 2002 and have been sitting on it for a while. And they started about 2 years ago construction on converting it to these condominiums, to the DCL condominiums. And now we're up to speed. All of that was in the starting file, the debrief.
So when the incidents happened in 1961, it was currently functioning as a remedial school.
And you have absolutely no information whatsoever about Operation Blister other than the name S. Garrettson Mansion came up. That's all you have. Lightside didn't have anything. Your case file didn't have anything. No information. Nothing whatsoever.
Okay.
Just throwing this out there. Operation Blister. How do you get a blister? You burn yourself.
That's one way. There's lots of other ways.
Anyways,
you can always burn the building, but you can't unburn the building. So, research City Hall Monday.
Yes, I'll be there with you.
Okay. So does everyone retreat to their various domiciles, or does anyone have any plans for the evening?
Declan wants to get back to the hotel as soon as possible.
Okay.
Is it possible to get a concrete leads question from like handler here?
You don't have any contact info for your handler.
Or you specifically, like, are you able to let us know that kind of information?
So, I mean, I can go through what you have. So you've got right now, and again, I'm not saying any of these are the right thing to follow. I'm just saying this is stuff that you've learned and haven't followed up on. Maggie's not wrong. You actually haven't looked into the Zenov Construction Company. There are several workers. You've only talked to like 2 or 3, and there are about a dozen, and you've only talked to 2 or 3 of them. What else? You just got some information from the library. There's this photograph of a wedding, and you saw an image of something that would look like it was a Catholic church, but in fact probably isn't. And the iconography was different, and it kind of had that concentric circle thing. You had the plate that you just put into into the storage facility. Those are all things that you sort of discovered. There were a handful of folks around the site, a couple homeless folks, people living in cars or in alleyways that you only talked to one or two of them, but there were a couple others that were lingering around. I would say also just from being agents, you would know you haven't cased the neighborhood at all. You haven't talked to neighboring buildings. You haven't talked to any of those types of things before. So you haven't done any of those steps. Again, I'm not claiming any of this is like the key or whatever. I'm just saying these are things that you might consider doing. Obviously, interviewing the workers is going to prove slightly more difficult at this point, considering the events. That's why I said sometimes you guys do things the hard way, considering the events of the last couple of days. But nonetheless, it is a thing.
Thank you.
Something else we could probably look into is the years of the building to see if we can find if there were periods of time where there was also a series of children that were missing.
So you do know, and like you just looked this up, you just got this info, that Robert Suydam was, at least in terms of like National Enquirer style newspaper, salacious reports, etc., his name was tied to these like crimes that involve some children in the 20s.
Yeah,
so you did know that.
Lisa wants to follow up on those specific crimes.
Okay. So there's a couple questions then in terms of like if you're looking for like crime reports and things. I don't know how Lisa's going to do that. So if you have a strategy for how Lisa would gain access to that kind of information, let me know. In terms of the other stuff that you got just from searching at the library, you've gone through some library stuff. You're in New York. There are many universities. There are many occult bookstores and rare bookstores. There's experts. These are the types of things you might consult with these people about questions. I know you guys are often used to just looking stuff up on your phones and things like that, but often in this type of game, communicating with people, going to certain specialists, those types of things is where you might actually gain better information, more accurate information. So in some cases, primary research. So there's that to think about.
Yeah, maybe we could go see like an occult person or maybe like an artist to see if they can recognize the woman in that painting, like the iconography of it.
I'm laughing because on one hand that sounds like a great idea, and then on the other hand, because we were talking in chat about this sort of like the yellow sign, like, hey, artists.
Yeah,
here.
let's share this.
Let's pass this around and see what happens.
We weren't able to like take the picture at all, but we would be describing it to see if it's something. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we know what the ladies are doing tomorrow.
Okay, so then I know Declan's rushing back to his hotel. With his stolen items. Luca, what are you doing? Is there again? Good.
Yeah, I'm gonna start working on some false identities for us. Maybe create some fake badges.
All right. So I did look into this a little bit more. So what you basically are looking to do, you can essentially requisition. Like if you're looking to get like a really good false identity, you can try to do this as a requisition. So you can try to get this from deltagreen. You can try to do this with your own, like this is something that an item or a service that you can try to get. So this is effectively kind of, we can look into it that way. So on, what is it? Like it's around page 89 or something like that in the agent's handbook, I think, if you wanted to follow along. So if you're looking for, specifically, you're trying to get like a really nice, like a really good that's going to hold up to scrutiny, like you're trying to get actual false identity, then I think this ends up being like I'm not sure if this is a major expense. Let me look it up. Looking for it again. So there's like different tiers of things in terms of like how hard it is to acquire. Standard requisition expenses, unusual, major, or extreme. So, all right. So
I'm trying to find the ID part of it.
I just saw it earlier today too, which is hilarious, and now I can't find where I put it. I'm dumb.
Looking.
Okay, I got it, I think. All right, so it's all weapons. Here we go. So
should we have guns?
So if you're looking for forged passport or identification documents, you can. This is an unusual expense. If you're looking for a completely new identity, this is an extreme expense. So you're looking for essentially false identification, right? Are you trying to get false identification to make you guys look like you're cops or FBI or whatever? Is that what you're looking to do?
Yes.
Okay, so I would probably put it. And you wanted to.
We're not trying to make a whole new identity to run away. We're just
right. You're just trying to get I would say we'll put it at maybe. We can put it at maybe somewhere between standard and unusual. So the question is whether or not you want to try to get deltagreen to supply this, or whether you, Luca, know of somebody, because this is going to cost money. And so you have the option to either try to pay for it with your own money, which could affect your bonds because you're doing this extra expense that is not necessarily expected, or you can try to requisition it and get these types of identities for whoever was in the organization to get it for you. The thing with doing it that way is that, there's a timing thing. It's not an instant. So you might request it tonight, but not get it until Wednesday or something like that. So those are things to consider. Usually for an unusual expense, which is what I'll put this at, it is usually going to take a few days. And if you try to accelerate it, it could take a day or two. So that's the quickest you'd be able to get it. So the question is does Luca with his DE agent contacts have a guy? Okay.
I would say, assuming that I'm in the law enforcement, I would have people that'll be able to make these identities.
Okay. I think that's fair. We don't need to go through the whole rigmarole of it. So we can say that tonight, part of what you do is you get the ball rolling on this. Okay. And you're going to pay out of pocket. So this is going to be something that you pay. So what you do is so that the way this works is the stress of spending reduces one non-deltagreen bond by 1.
Yeah, I'm going to dip into the pizzeria fund here.
Okay, perfect. I love that. So you start getting into the money of your family's money. And so you're going to reduce your stress, or excuse me, you're going to reduce the quality of your bond by 1. If you were from a wealthy occupation, which you are not, you can potentially roll a test to avoid that. But I don't think Luca in the DEA in a family-owned pizzeria is wealthy enough to warrant it. But yeah, we'll say that you've put the request in and you made the order. And I'll tell you what, roll I'll give you a choice. Roll either a persuasion or here's what I'll say. 2 options for you, Luca. You can roll a persuasion to see if you can get this done faster, or you can actually pay more than you need, meaning you're going to take an extra point of stress damage against your bond to take even more money from them to pay for getting it faster. So you can either roll a persuasion and fail and get it in a couple days. If you pass, you'll get it in a day or so. You get it probably by the end of tomorrow. If you want to just bypass the roll entirely, you can choose right now to instead take an extra point. We'll do that. How's that?
My persuade's pretty decent. I'm going to go and roll.
All right.
Roll it.
Ooh, 47 under 50. Success.
47 under 50. Okay. So we'll say you managed to, it's sort of like calling in a favor here in a way, as you give them the money, but you also maybe you have information that helps them. Maybe you have information that doesn't. We can kind of work out the contact later and see if we want to draw them into something more. But we'll say you have a kind of a black market counterfeiter that can make this. Now, the other question I have for you is, what kind of IDs do you want?
I think we'll go with cop IDs.
Just an NYPD?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. All right. And they'll have them for you because you're such a good customer, by the end of tomorrow.
Nice.
All right.
Next day delivery.
Very nice. Your contact's name is Jeff Bezos. Not to be confused with the Amazon guy. All right.
Jeff B.
Maggie and Lisa, you guys are just going to go get some rest, or did you have something you wanted to tackle tonight?
Let's hit up an occult store tonight if they're still open, because it's after
Sunday night.
time.
It's a Sunday night.
So they're not open. Okay.
It's a Sunday night. Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
That works.
Going to bed.
Not a lot of occult customers on a Sunday night.
I
That's
don't
fair.
think Sunday night is a oft open. Like you're looking for a very small boutique kind of store.
Yeah.
Like a rare bookstore or like a
Probably
occult,
closes at like
shop.
5, and that's when we were eating dinner.
And it might not even be open on the weekend.
Yeah.
Those types of things. So it's like it's not a Barnes and Noble. It's an actual store. Okay. Then let's go over to Declan, who's hurrying back to his hotel. He's got items. Okay. So
I'm going to put them back. It's okay.
Walk me through what you do there, Declan.
Get back to the hotel, and I start taking pictures of pages in the book as clear as I can. And then I want to try and transcribe chunks of it into like Google Translate or something like that, just an online translator. And I know it'll come out all jumbled, but it'll be better than what I've got now.
All right. So you would know, Stephen would know this. Reading this book is certainly something you can do. It is definitely a task. It is something that's going to take time. And in doing so, like you will get some skill boosts, some sanity loss, and some combinations of things, as is common with reading books within Call of Cthulhu style games. So that will definitely happen. I don't think any of that will necessarily conclude tonight, but we'll say that you start on the process of reading and transcribing, and we'll say this is going to take some time, but we can definitely.
I didn't think I would get the full book. I want to get at least like I really don't want to keep the book that long. So if we're planning on working Monday, I might return it on Tuesday or something. So I just want to do like chunks that seem important.
Okay. So yeah. What about the other thing? What about the box?
I'm so mad at that box. If it doesn't buzz, it's just staying on the table.
Okay. So you brought it inside.
Putting it by the laptop as I'm working on the book.
You reach to your bag. And you take out the box and you go to put it down on the table next to you. Right as your hand touches the box and pulls it out, you feel something goes terribly strange. You feel a coldness on your hands. You feel a numbness begin to overtake you. The box begins to shake and vibrate much more violently than you have would have expected from what went down inside of the storage container. It vibrates so violently that you drop it on the ground. It opens up itself, and you see this tangle of light and space just sort of fold in front of you in this completely and utterly strange manner that just boggles your mind. It's like the folding of like, it's like you're looking through sort of some kind of waterfall, and you're looking to the other side of it, and it's all twisting and turning, and you realize some shadow is kind of growing out of this translucent sheen of light. You see one wing begin to grow and prop out of that sheen, out of this strange fold. You see another. You see claws reach out and pull something through and in your direction. And standing in front of you is this eye-twisting aberration that is both hideous and fascinating at the same time. It stands at least as tall as you, but it is crouched over. It is covered in some kind of fur, not unlike a bat. Its face is implacable. Like you have no idea what it thinks of what it sees. Your mind begins to race. I need you to roll a sanity test.
Is this Pandora's box?
Oh my gosh.
65. Current sand is 75.
Okay, take 1 point of sanity loss as you're standing there and you're watching whatever this winged creature is. It takes a step towards you. What's your dex?
15.
All right, you can go first. What do? There is a massive, hideous-looking aberration that looks like something like a bat hybrid with some kind of human shape that just somehow manifested out of unfathomable folds of light inside of your hotel room after bursting from this box that you just took from a deltagreen box.
Is the box nearby?
It's on the ground.
Does it look like closing the box would help anything?
I mean, if you would like to give that a try, I would tell you this thing, you see the claws, you see its face, you know for a great certainty that this is no creature you have never, this is only stuff that you've read about. If you would like to reach down and try to close the box with your 16 dex action, I would be more than happy to let you do that.
I guess I gotta run. I want to grab the book and run.
Okay. If you're going to grab the book and try
and
to
laptop,
run,
I need that too.
Okay. So if you're
Let me pack up all my clothes and hats and glasses and then run away from the
I can leave the clothes.
Are you sure it's your favorite sweater?
Okay. How are you looking, by the way, Declan? Are you fully healthy and hale?
So my HP says 6, but I don't remember if that's actually from the first intro. Did I take damage last session? I don't think I have.
You did.
Mine is so actually
I would be
10 of 13 as well for HP, so I think something happened.
You got hit by the cat.
Yeah, I don't recall anyone taking any damage. Okay. I would like a dexterity test. If you're trying, for each thing you're trying to get, you get a minus 10% for each thing you're trying to get. If you try to grab the book, that's minus 10%. If you try to grab your laptop, that's minus 20%. And this is to grab the thing and get to the door. Or you can just try to run without leaving everything behind and run for the door. And that would get you out into the hall. Behind. Okay.
So 55 is what I'm looking for here.
Okay.
I rolled an 8.
Okay. You grab as this thing comes. Kind of moving in your direction, its wings growing and expanding to the point where you see them scraping the walls and the ceiling as this massive, almost gargoyle-like size of creature begins to move in your direction. You run and you grab the book and you grab your laptop and you make for the door and you get to the door. But as I said, you don't get out the door. You just get to the door, which means it's going to get a chance to take an attack at you. As it quickly hops up onto your bed and then sort of sweeps down and tries to catch you as you leave.
There should have been a warning on this box somewhere.
The fact that it was behind lock and key in a deltagreen storage room. Not. Yeah.
All right. That's a hit. 17 on the die. Rolling a
Am I dead?
Okay. You're not dead. You're not dead. As there is a 15% lethality on this attack as it tries to sink its massive fangs into you. However, I rolled a 71 on that. So instead of you taking And instead of it being an automatic kill, you instead take 8 points of damage. So take 8 points of damage as it manages.
So I'm almost dead.
How much health do you have?
I've got 3 left.
Okay. You feel as you reach for the door, you've got everything in your hands. You go to open it up. You're about to step out, and you just feel the fangs of this bat-like creature just tear into your shoulder. You scream in pain as it is excruciating. It echoes throughout the halls of this hotel. Declan, what do you do on this turn?
I want to get out the door and close it.
Okay. You get out. That's easy enough to do. It doesn't grapple you or anything. You get out. You close the door. Then what? Give you a little bit more. What else do you want to try to do?
Oh, shit. I think I would just kind of like panic on the other side of the door and put my back to it, trying to keep it shut.
You're going to stay here and just trying to keep it shut? Okay.
Fire alarm.
Declan, roll a strength test.
This is my worst stat. But the lollies are coming up tonight. I rolled a 10.
You roll a 10. That's very good. That's very good.
Thank you, Norris Foundry.
You hold and you hold and you hold and you feel it pushing and pushing, and you're doing all you can. And then eventually you feel a great velocity suddenly hit your back as the door explodes. You go flying across the hall. The door smashes against you. You land on the ground. Roll a luck test for me.
What is happening?
52.
You hear, as you're getting your head around you, you hear a ding. And you hear the sounds of voices come out. And you'd be like, I can't believe they got my order wrong. Can you believe? Oh my God, what is that? And then suddenly you hear the sounds of and then screams. You look up and you can see that there's a couple, probably in their 40s or so, that are currently being attacked by this winged servitor. You are like kind of underneath the door. And so likely what happened is it looked for the easiest target. And you can see about 5 to 10 feet from you down the hall, right out of the elevator, it just started slaughtering these two. And you can see it's just ripping through a woman on the ground. What do you want to do, Declan?
I want to run.
Where would you like to run?
Down the other direction of the hallway. And
away
if I
from
see
this?
a fire alarm, I have no weapons. How am I going to help?
Okay. No, that's fine.
Actually, I want to go back in the room and I want to get the box and try shutting it now.
I need you to roll a sand test as you see a horrific and utterly violent display in front of you, as much like The Shining, bursts of blood erupt from this woman as the man that was with her is just standing next to her in this sense of shock, like Windows from The Thing, just kind of watching with this horror on his face, his like mouth almost kind of extending outward, like it's going to rip apart at the jaw as he's in such disbelief of what's happening here. Declan, how'd you do with your sand?
23 under 74.
Take another point of sand loss from this horrific violence, but you are nonetheless keeping it together. You run back into your room. You close the box. You still hear the sounds of screams, and now you hear the sounds of as it seems to have now gone towards the man. What would you like to do next?
Declan is a coward, so he's gonna take the box and the book and the laptop and flee and pull a fire alarm.
Okay. You run out into the hall and you start running again. You're running away from him. You're looking for any signs of a fire alarm. Roll a luck test again.
15.
Okay. You find one, just a maybe 15 feet down the hall as you run away. You pull it, everything starts going crazy instantly. You just hear the sounds of as the lights start flickering as well, and you can start to run. You hear the sounds of the man's pain behind you. Then you hear doors start to open. It's like, what's going on? Oh my God, what is that? You hear the sounds of the winged servitor beginning to sort of chase down, and doors slamming, doors opening, this commotion of people seeing this thing. Some of them being unlucky to get attacked by this thing. But Declan, you are running. You reach the stairs near the vending machine. You maybe brave one little look over your shoulder, the shoulder where blood is pouring down from where you were bit. You see in the hallway behind you carnage that you've never seen before, as bodies lay ripped to pieces in the hallway, as there are no less than 5, maybe 6 people who either have been killed or have been brutally and horrifically ripped apart. What do you do as you stand at the door to the stairs?
Keep running.
You run inside the stairs, and you begin running down, and that is where we're going to go ahead and end for tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Should we have guns?
I'm just imagining Luca's reaction when Declan tells him what happened. Like,
Oh, I'm not admitting shit. Deny till you die, which won't take long with 3 hit points.
What have you done?
Well, that is not where I thought tonight's session was going to go.
What?
Why
would they put it there if they didn't want
research and
someone to
stuff
touch it?
prepared for Ashley, some of which she's gotten, some of which she's still to get. I was ready to go for that. I was good to go for that. And even the construction site stuff, I can give you stuff for that. No problem.
Who has this on their bingo card?
Who had winged servitor goes on a rampage in the middle of a hotel in New York City? Who had that?
Who would put that in a storage unit? Like, that should be in high security.
we thought Ronnie Lightside was mad this morning.
It's in a Delta green box that says "Do not touch." It says "Do not touch."
But it
Oh,
vibrated
goodness.
twice. It wanted to be
As
opened.
just describing it as it's starting to put out, I'm like, close the box! Slam that shit!
The cat.
I would-
not that it's a
yeah.
cat. The bat-ish was out of the bag at that point. But yeah, yeah.
Oh.
For those who are curious, it is a literal winged servitor, which is what it is.
What the fuck is that?
It is a Lovecraft species beast. It is very strong.
Oh my god!
I was really curious. I was watching the time. I was asking you guys what, okay, it's late afternoon, and then you guys went to the restaurant, and I was just this might happen at the restaurant, and then you said you wanted to race home. All right, you raced home, you raced back to your hotel. I'm all right, it's happening at the hotel. Then otherwise, it was going to happen in the middle of that hotel in the middle of New York City with little old Jamie around, and
The restaurant, you mean?
Yeah, in the restaurant. Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
So that could be
See,
interesting.
Declan made a wise choice today. He didn't open it in front of the child.
I did open it.
Oh, wow.
Not in front of the
times.
child. Of the option to open it in front of the child and not in front of the child.
I want to point out that you're not out of the woods completely. You just got into the stairwell and you started running. And I love how it's one of those, I love those moments when you're like, I'm going to hit the fire alarm, which on the one hand sounds like a great idea. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, what you literally just did is you teed up other people who are going to race out of their room. Not all of them, but some of them who are going to race out of the room right into the path of this thing. I love moments like that where it's just these unintended consequences. and
I'm
stuff.
blaming Ashley on that one. I saw her put it in the chat.
Did you
I
say
wasn't
that?
the only one.
Ashley?
There were a couple people that said,
I was
fire
thinking of the
alarm.
lower floors.
Ashley, this whole thing is your fault. It's entirely on
clearly.
your shoulders.
You blaming your shit
Clearly.
on me, sir? These are the consequences of your own decisions.
Oh my god, I can't believe
Luca, why didn't you tell me not to take the box?
I can't believe you took the box. I'm so.
Why would they
amazed you
put it
took
there
the
if they
box.
didn't want someone to take it?
They put it inside.
To
That's
keep
where
it
they
away from
store stuff.
people.
No, I mean the designers.
To tempt
The
people
box
like you.
shakes. Just ignore it.
They got me.
The box shakes again. Oh, I mean,
The box didn't shake until
twice.
he touched it.
I had pretty good
Okay.
self-control the first 2 times we closed that door. Just throwing that out there.
I love how we've gone from, I don't really want to go out in that rain to help you with that ground woman to, let me touch this thing that clearly says don't touch this in a place that is probably pretty dangerous.
There was no overt danger at the time. When he saw overt danger, he ran.
That's fair. All right. So that is it for this week. We will pick up in 2 weeks. We will see how this puts a wrench in things. This is definitely, I like how you guys are like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And then all the while I'm thinking in the back of my head, ticking freaking time bomb in Declan's bag right now is going to go off like pretty soon. It's fun. What do we got coming up, guys? What's our next stream?
One Ring. We're playing some more One Ring, and we're all gonna die in that too.
Speaking
As there's
of
a
winged
winged
creatures
demon
killing people. Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow, One Ring, our finale. We're very excited for this. Also, a little bit anxious and sad as we are going to be playing our the final episode of our Waking of Angmar campaign tomorrow. For however long it takes, whether it's an hour, whether it's 3, whether it's 20 minutes. We're finishing tomorrow. We also thanks to Eric from Norse Foundry has helped us get some giveaways. So we're going to be giving away 2 gift certificates to Norse Foundry as well. So for those of you that are there watching with us live, you're going to get a chance to get some awesome dice and dice related products from our buddies at Norse Foundry. So come hang out, come early. I'm going to give away 1 really early right off the bat, and we'll give away 1 at some other point in time in the stream. So come hang out. Then Monday, we've got Monster of the Week. So we should be able to finish our first story as we were dealing with the alien chupacabras, which is a fun little overlap stuff. Tuesday, Steven, what do we got going on, man?
We are playing more X-Men. Speaking of stories that didn't go the direction we expected, they are now on the run. We were talking about it after the show. They said, at what point did we go like the direction you didn't expect us to? And I said, like, the moment I gave you freedom in like minute 5, that's when you went the direction.
Just look away, because if you don't see us leave, then you're not complicit.
It was a great session.
It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Now we're going to be doing some running through the tunnels.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Thursday of next week, we're going to get back to some Werewolf, the Apocalypse. We were off last night. We were down a few too many players, but we should be back on Thursday with another story, another chapter. Friday next week, we are going to do a one-shot of a game that literally just came out this morning, or at least the PDFs were just sent to backers this morning. Eat the Reich is on Kickstarter about a month ago from Rowan, Rook, and Deckard, who we love because they've done Heart, they've done Die. Those are 2 of my favorite games. You've run them on the channel. Aaron is going to run that, and a few of the people you see on the screen here, not Steven, are going to be playing in it for the one-shot next week. And that's where we're at. Check out the YouTube page as well. We got all sorts of other games there, including Fragged, which we have going on right now. This is going to be an interesting 2 weeks. I'm really excited now to see what happens. I got to figure out what's going to happen too. That's the other thing.
We were like, we go to City Hall, we chat with some government employees, we figure out some, sewer
The boys
maps.
and the girls were on opposite wavelengths this week. We're like, we're going to do
It's
research.
Classic.
If you all had
got your
agreed to
research
burn
ready.
the building,
I'm ready to hunt it down.
You guys could burn the building down. I'm just not saying that's necessarily going to end the scenario if you burn the building down.
I'm saying the demon would have been summoned, at the evil building instead of the hotel. That would have been less casualties. So really,
Possibly.
It's still Lisa's fault.
So you
Possibly.
bring the summoned creature to
Typical
the building
Declan.
and then burn it.
I can always find someone else to blame.
All right, everybody, save it for the next session, okay? I'm trying to raid the defenders, okay? So just shut the hell up. Wave goodbye. Say goodnight, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.